It is now time to open Texas 100%.
Greg, you're not a scientist. Shut up. You're not supposed to try to kill us, Greg.
What up, y'all? My name is Kendrick Sampson. I was born and raised in H-Town in Mo City, Texas.
I'm draped up and dripped out, know what I'm talking about.
My people in Texas, we believe that everyone, no matter our color or zip code or background, should have the freedom to keep our loved ones warm, fed, safe. And the power of our community has shown through as so many of us have stepped up, opened our homes and wallets in the middle of a pandemic to keep each other safe and alive. That's the Texas I know. Shout out to the people on the ground in our communities like Texas Organizing Project, Pure Justice, Councilwoman Tarsha Jackson, and Relief Gang. Unfortunately, people have to do that because our elected officials, meanwhile, led by Governor Greg Abbott, have been spewing designed to sidestep accountability. None of us should accept any rationale from elected officials that say we couldn't have prepared for this. We could have been prepared. And there are things we can all do now to prevent this kind of catastrophe from happening again. We can organize. This didn't just happen. Let me break it down for you. It happened because, one, the ripple effects of climate change, and Texas politicians' decade-long commitment to lining the pockets of energy companies, putting profit over people. Two, Texas' pride in being the wild, wild west extends to how the right-wing state government thinks about governing to the core. No rules, no refs, aka deregulation. Three, like the devastation experienced during Hurricane Katrina, this wasn't just about weather, but about the flawed and outdated levees that predictably broke. Texas Republican leadership has for decades underinvested in making sure we have strong bones, infrastructure like safe roads, bridges, and yes, pipes that don't freeze. First step in organizing is connecting the dots. 4 million people didn't just all of a sudden lose power to climate change, and Texas Republicans' deep commitment to lining the pockets of energy companies, their little billionaire friends, played a role. The right-wing state government's fundamental commitment to doing business without rules or refs is also to blame for the massive power outages and harm to millions that was caused. Funny thing, when it comes to women's access to healthcare or funding public education, there are a lot of rules and regulations that Texas Republicans fight to the bitter end to defend. Yeah, not so much when it comes to making sure that energy production and reserves are ready for when there's life-taking duress. You know, like below freezing temperatures that would freeze a child to death in his bed as he's sleeping. Because that would mean rules, refs, aka accountability, and less money in the pockets of energy company cronies. It would mean regulation. Much of the country is powered by regional energy system, which allows states to essentially share resources in times of duress. Most of Texas is on Texas's own electric grid called the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, or ERCOT, that was founded in 1970. The grid consists of a network of utilities and is responsible for overseeing the transmission of electricity over the power grid for most of our state. There are only 3 electric grids in the country, and Texas has its own because it wants to skirt federal regulation. Federal regulation would mean compliance and accountability. Anticipating the historic winter weather, ERCOT boasted as late as February 11th that the system had sufficient energy supply. And most importantly, ERCOT answers to the Texas State Legislature and the Public Utility Commission, a 3-member panel appointed by ill-equipped, inadequate, insufficient Governor Greg Abbott. ERCOT is regulated by the state. They don't make their own rules. Texas does. So when Abbott points the finger at ERCOT, there are 3 more pointing back at him. Connected to Texas state leadership's adherence to wild, wild west deregulation policies, and after years and years of going down this path, the inevitable happened. Our bones are weak, which is to say that Republican leadership has historically turned a blind eye to investing in the things that would keep us safe and alive during crises. We can prepare. In 2011, there was a winter storm. Republican state leaders failed to do any meaningful disaster planning following 2011. This would mean investment in things not likely to make money for energy companies. Instead of investing in our infrastructure, making sure our bones were strong, right-wing leadership ignored experts, saved money, and risked lives. Sounds like a copy and paste from their response to the pandemic, in which Black and brown Texans have been disproportionately impacted. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, in Texas, Black and brown families are more than twice as likely as white households to live under the poverty line. Many are living in homes and neighborhoods already compromised by the inequalities of poverty that multiply during extreme weather and pandemics. When crises hit, it's Black and Latino communities that bear the brunt of political decisions to skirt regulation, not invest in infrastructure, and put profit over people. We can do something to change the course. Organizing helps us to see that things don't happen by coincidence. Systems are designed to do exactly what they do. Let's envision a new system together. Taking these steps can help us get there. Share this video with a comment and tag @OrganizedTexas. Call your congressperson to demand a federal investigation. Join the movement to build a Texas for all. #TexasForAll at www.texasforall.org. Oh, I almost forgot. Rick Perry, Jerry Jones, Greg Abbott, and capitalism. Oh yeah, you thought I forgot about you. You, Ted Cruz.